Shoghi Effendi's appointed successor is the appointed phase of the Universal House of Justice. That Baha'u'llah's Book of the Covenant, the Kitab-i-Ad, defines that there will be two individual successors and then the House of Justice. So the first successor was abdulbaha, and then he appoints Shoghi Effendi to succeed him. Shoghi Effendi replaces abdulbaha's half-brother, Muhammad Ali, who broke the covenant. And then because of the Kitab-i-Ad, Shoghi Effendi doesn't have only one person that's his full successor. His successor is the entire council of the Universal House of Justice. And in the Will and Testament, it states that one of the members of the Universal House of Justice is the irremovable member for life. And so Shoghi Effendi welcomed Abdul-Baha's son, his legally adopted son, Mason Rimi, as the president of the first International Baha'i Council that Shoghi Effendi stated was to effloresce and evolve through 4 stages into the Universal House of Justice. So we really don't have a line of infallible guardians that are like Shoghi Effendi, who inherited the conferred infallibility completely in totality for himself from Abdul-Baha, but instead the conferred infallibilities on the entire council of the House of Justice. Nevertheless, the president of the council, which is the one seated on the throne of David, have the same title as Shoghi Effendi, a guardian of the cause of God. So this is kind of like the word fruit. Like fruit describes a certain thing that exists, and an apple tree will have apple fruit, bananas will be on a banana bush or tree, and then oranges on an orange tree. So we can say that these are fruit, but they're not the same. Apples are not oranges. Oranges are not apples, but they're both fruit. So the presidents of the House of Justice that are a lineage of the throne line of David continuing through the Agsan line are appointed successors that have the same title, guardian of the cause of God, but they're different than Shoghi Effendi, who also had the same title, guardian of the cause of God. Their function is restricted to the presidency of the House of Justice, and Abdul-Baha's explicit texts state that no one member of the House of Justice, and that includes the permanent member for life, in and of themselves has the conferred infallibility, but that the decisions and the guidance from the true Universal House of Justice, head and body both, are free from all error. So Mason Rimi is Shoghi Effendi's successor, being Abdul-Baha's son as the guardian, but not really, because it's really the House of Justice that has that legislative and judicial authority to be free from error in the work. The reason it's free from error, if it makes a mistake, then there'll be injustice, such as this mistake that has caused injustice on the education of Iranian Bahais over the last 20 years. So through right guidance and hikmat, the believers become sovereign in themselves to be able to navigate through the difficult situations that present themselves in the different countries where the Baha'i communities are. So Shoghi Effendi's successor is the House of Justice. There are 2 individual successors, and then the UHJ, which he appointed himself on January 9th of 1951, and he welcomed Abdul-Baha's son, Charles Mason Rimi Agsan, as its president, and therefore his successor to the title, guardian of the cause of God, but not all of the infallible sphere of jurisdiction that Shoghi Effendi had. That went to the council in full.